I mean, that's for smooth brainers for sure.
Smooth brainers.
I don't know what Underlord is good versus Riki, no doubt. I just don't think that was the kind of hero that they really needed. What are some things? Okay, it's good against Riki, right? It's really good against his high agility. He cuts down a lot of damage. He has this ensnare, this AoE ensnare, that's really good against the Riki. Will allow people to follow up because they didn't have the best disables for Riki initially, so that'll help a lot.
Yeah.
And then he's a big team fight presence, so they needed something that would be able to buy like Pipe, Crimson Guard for them, and like maybe even Guarding Greaves or something, just to make these squishy backliners survive a little bit longer against the Riki. It checks a lot of boxes for sure.
He is a giant utility punching bag potentially for Prodigy on this one, but I am concerned on how they are going to build up on that. If they do happen to withstand Alliance and turn fights around, let's say, you know, where do they go? Where do they scale into? The last time we've seen Epileptic Kid play this co-op, it wasn't the most dominating presence, you know, and we've seen him do tons of work on heroes like PL and Troll. So I'm a little concerned with how things could scale on Prodigy's side, even if things go their way in early and mid-game.
I am concerned as well. I think this is Virtus.Prodigy. They need to be able to run over the lanes. As such, we kind of knew that it was going to be Death Prophet mid because we've already seen the Quap versus Ember Spirit matchup, and it seemed like Limp was very comfortable with that. So unless FN was going to say, I'm going to completely outplay Limp, which I don't think you should take that mindset, considering Limp has been on, he's pretty heated up right now, man. He looks really good. So Death Prophet's going to be a more reliable pick into this. Side lane Quap is pretty tough to deal with. I've had to play up against it a number of times, and they do have it paired up with Witch Doctor, which is, again, one of the best 5 positions in the game right now. I played a Witch Doctor game yesterday, and I could feel the strength of the hero, whether it's Voodoo Restoration, allowing you to survive through harassment and win the lane for you off of that way, or Maledict against these tanky heroes like the Dragonite. All of it's great.
Curious to see if he decides to go the double into Maledict or an early point in Voodoo Restoration. For the other side, it's Hanskin. He got that early Blightstone on the Nature's Prophet, so he'll be poking really hard onto that Witch Doctor and trying to, you know, rough around this Queen of Pain where possible, but putting that value into the early bit of aggression on the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, a lot of teams, they used to like the 5-position Nature's Prophet, but Alliance is the most prevalent team that is running this 4 Nature's Prophet a lot, and you could see, well, just a bit of a go here into the bottom lane, the Riki Grimstroke lane. We always have to kind of keep our eye on it because you never know when they're going to go for the Inkswell Blink Strike attack.
FNG, he's going to be a giddy boy in this game. There's so much synergy with Grimstroke on his team now to work with. Obviously, you got the Riki, you also got the Ember. Hell, even DK might be able to eventually just kind of blink in with the setup.
You've got double Dragon Tail stun, which I think is super powerful.
Ooh, trouble potentially top lane for S4. He gets poisoned up and maledicted, and it's a story we've seen time and time again. This time, Ein able to get it set up, and Epileptic Kid will pick up that first blood.
So the way I see this is I think they can win both side lanes here. And Death Prophet's matchup is not terrible either. So Virtus.Prodigy can potentially walk away with the win in all 3, though with the way that Limp has been playing lately, I doubt that FN's really going to be able to crush this Ember Spirit. And you could see just in the CS that Limp has done very well for himself initially.
Yeah, coming into this meta, it felt like many others where a lot
he doesn't want to level the blink. You see that? He's blocked in by the trance. He was holding a skill point. He's like, no, damn it, no. I want level 2 Shadow Strike. No, you're going to have to blink, dog.
Nice. Hanskin forcing him to utilize the different skill point. And, yeah, we'll just kind of see how things bode out from this laning phase. It could go great for Prodigy. But what I've seen is it's not as cut and dry of metas in the past where it's just about winning the laning phase and you are potentially winning the game. I felt like that's how it felt leading into this ESL event, but we've seen in some of these recent series, you can win laning phase all 3 games and still end up, you know, dropping the series 2-1.
Yeah, there's this weird period of time just outside of the laning phase where you start having the 2 supports and maybe one of the cores start rotating around the map. It's you see it a lot from the Enigma Secret series, especially where maybe one team did win the laning phase, but what really got them ahead was all the rotations that were happening.
Oh, moves bottom lane. Nico Baby trying to move in, sets things up with the tricks of the trade. The Inkswell was there, but not enough follow through to get the hit on the save. But the turnaround chase comes out, and DM finishes off FNG.
Yeah, this is kind of what I first saw in this matchup, is that Underlord bullies the Riki a lot, and the only way for Alliance to win the bottom lane is off of killing Save over and over again. And Save's got Fate Bolt, which is really potent ability for slowing down damage.
So you have that and Underlord together.
Yeah, exactly. Riki's hitting like a kitten.
They're barely scratching the surface of this bottom lane, and you're right. It's certainly going to be tipping in the favor of Prodigy. I mean, top farmer at the moment is DM on this Underlord, and we'll just have to see what he can kind of do with this bit of momentum. And it will be pressure on Alliance and Nico Baby to withstand it for the time being. Yeah, take the openings that do present themselves, but more so try not to hand over any unnecessary deaths and just farm out for the later game, for the bigger picture.
I was wrong about top lane, though. It seems like it's a bit harder. What I imagined was we've seen Quap versus DK, and that matchup can be won by Quap in the first few levels, just purely off of Shadow Strike spam. But eventually, Dragon Blood gives you too much regen. The difference here being he is Maledict, which just makes the Dragon Knight super squishy. But seems like the Furion is too much of a presence in this lane. They haven't really been able to push on S4 past that one time that they got him killed, but it's been a result of a lot of CS.
Commitments being made. They know that the support has left the lane for the bounty runes. They try to impose their will onto S4, but the creep wave is already so far down the lane. It makes it hard to make that kind of commitment.
Yeah, and Epileptic Kid is choosing to go for the max out Scream, which is a little bit better for farming and a little bit better for that burst damage as well.
Pull back bottom lane. Nico Baby, telekinesis into the spam of that Underlord, and he's already at half of his life and has to start chewing through the regen. And he's getting a lot of value out of this wand, and it could be good, but something he might fall back on soon enough. Mid lane, trouble for FN. Rotation over. Handskin shows up on the Nature's Prophet. The three of them surround Lady DP. Can they go for the finish? Ein steps in, tries to slow it down, but there's just too much power coming in from Alliance. They strike hard in the mid lane and get their first kill on the board.
And they still have their Siege Wagon alive. This Siege Wagon has been banging on the tower for a while. They popped their Glyph ones. Limp tanked for the tower as well. That's why they made such a big rotation to the Death Prophet. On top of that, it was like the chip damage on this mid tower is very important. That if they didn't bring that extra hero, it would have been a big turnaround, because Death Prophet had 3 Spirit Siphon charges and a Fairy Fire. So they needed every bit of damage they could to burst him down before he started healing.
And they make the return. Meanwhile, bottom trouble potentially again for Nico Baby. Shifts out. DM now caught between the creeps, spamming out what he can, but does manage to bring down Nico Baby. There is return fire of Hanskin getting that takedown of DM with his rotation over, but my goodness. DM just dumping everything he can and still manages to get the Riki.
Now he's got his treads. The next time he shows back up in lane, he's gotten only 4 bonus attack damage so far. I guess it's only 2 per level because he only has 1 atrophy aura.
So the treads is kind of the build-up. I guess it might be my noob stat, but I'd always remember people going like Arcanes if they wanted to spam out more stuff and then eventually lead that into something like a Greaves. But here going Power Treads and you know, Soul Ring for the mana help, and then I imagine something like a Pipe after. But Power Treads is you know, it's nice. If you're doing stats and some right click with his heavy damage, he somehow builds up. Yeah,
there was this cycle where Phase Boots was really big as well, but Phase Boots kind of got nerfed up a bit. Treads has been the value item for a lot of offlaners. You see like Mars going for it when he used to go Phase, for example. And I think Underlord likes the attack speed a lot when he is winning his lane. Now, if this was an Underlord that was facing up against a tri-lane, having a lot harder time where he was just Firestorm spamming in order to get CS, Arcane Boots would be better for sure.
Okay.
But he is actually may become a potent right-clicker if this trend continues.
All right, 8-minute runes, lots of tension as DK and Death Prophet both committing in with their ultimates. They dance around this mid lane. S4 retreats out to the river as FN makes chase, looking to move in with Epileptic Kid. They both surround him, and they will choke to tag him down. Trouble potentially for FN, though, and there's a Sonic Wave. Heavy commitment onto Limp, but Limp able to clean them out. He gets the takedown of FN, still holds strong. Him and FNG committing all the bit of the resources onto Epileptic Kid, who does manage to blink across the river and make it to safety. The supports now swing in. They look to go for Handskin. They got the lift cancel on the TP. He's got the Maldic, though. He eats way too much damage. He should ultimately go down. They do manage to finish Save and his Rubik, and the chase continues from Limp. He sidesteps to get the Courier. And
nice cask.
Him and Nico Baby now eat a coconut for their troubles. It's a long-winded engagement in the mid lane.
Yeah, DM, if you see he's halfway through the river right now, he thought at the tail end of that engagement, oh, maybe I should be over there. That's one of the big problems with Underlord, right? He's a very stationary unit. He likes to just be able to sit and dominate his lane until the tower is taken. So he wasn't here for this engagement, and that's why it goes poorly.
Here is a run back of that moment of brilliance here, as they try to pull Alliance all the way across the river. They had chased down S4 and then tried to use a bit of that high ground advantage, almost being able to get Epileptic Kid here. The silence not lasting quite long enough, and he's able to retreat out the other side. And then a couple of scrappy support kills here at the end.
In the future, I'd like to see DM have a TP ready and be in these engagements. Just any sort of presence of like the Pit of Malice. He's actually going for more levels of it. So I thought he was just going to go one value level of it against the Riki and then max out Atrophy Aura.
Swinging in the jungle here from the Alliance side as Limp continues to rotate around. Now they cross paths with DM, and the three of them will take down the Beast. Rubik has eyes on the 10-minute bounties instead, picks that one up.
This is that period of time we were talking about, Dakota. Like, the laning phase is kind of over, and this is where rotations are going to be very big. And the Riki and Ember Spirit, they're making moves. And Virtus.Pro.Prodigy, they're more stationary heroes like this Underlord are getting caught out, and the advantage that they took early on in CS off of the laning phase is being fed away a bit.
Yeah, it just feels like things are going to get a bit awkward here for Prodigy, because where are your priorities going to lie between taking team fights, taking objectives, who's going to get the farm, and who the hell is scaling for us in the late game as like an insurance policy in case these fights don't go well? Feels like they need to be all in on fights and objective taking at the moment, but I can already see Alliance building up that strong defensive barrier. I mean, double Bracer on S4, how the hell are you going to take him down?
Oh, okay, very cool. I see what DM's going for. He's going for the Rod of Atos build. Ooh. And what the Rod of Atos build is you lead off with Pit, and say you have the Rod right now, you put it on FNG to chain the stun.
Yeah, you're going nowhere at that point. But as they make the chase for FNG, it's FNG who actually gets the kill, takes down Ein's Witch Doctor. All right. Well, that's not good for Prodigy. They're on the team that kind of needs to kind of keep the momentum potentially built up from the laning stage moving forward. And as Epileptic Kid steps away from that top lane, we see Handskin just swoop in himself with his own little army. And this is a pretty value tower that's just getting a lot of free damage.
Yeah, they're chipping away at all of these towers. Like, mid has gotten quite low from two different Dragon Form plays matched with Siege Wagons. The top lane's probably just going to be given up at this point and traded for bottom.
Yeah, Prodigy, so they'll go for bottom instead. And they'll get that. I mean, something that DM had been kind of chunking through himself. But that's only one lane of the three that seemed to be on the positive here for Prodigy. And now we're going to see Alliance race through this mid-game phase, trying to build up that defusal on Nico Baby, who's looking to make the jump on the Epileptic Kid here. Hits him with the silence and the Inkswell. Do they have additional silence? Yes, they do. Do they have the burst? No! Just a hair short, and he somehow finds the pocket to leap out. They're still chasing for him, though, and he doesn't have TP. He's done for. Without that TP, there is no escape, and Queen of Pain will fall.
DM's being very selfish in this game, man. He is all-inning on his farm.
Jeez Louise.
He's not being in any of these team fights. He never leveled Dark Rift, so he didn't even like show to have the appearance that he could be a part of a fight if he wanted to be. I'm not convinced this Rod of Atos like magically solves this game. Yes, it's very good against Riki and Ember Spirit, no doubt. But it also means that with this build, they're not getting that big team fight presence of like sustain that we were talking about from Guardian Greaves or Pipe or Crimson Guard.
I have not seen many games in my Dota lifetime that it's an Underlord to be able to pull it home and be the spearhead for a team, but that is what Prodigy are hoping is going to happen here. They are successful on a good rotation in the bottom lane on FNG. you know, they weren't able to get him when it was a 2-man gank, but with a 3-man gank, they can get that pesky Grimstroke down. But not too much a problem for Alliance. They continue to spread their farm across the jungle and the lanes. And, you know, even just by looking at the net worth, sure, the top 2 is there for Prodigy, but below that, you know, Alliance's cores continue to find their fruits.
Epileptic Kid, you know, I didn't like seeing him on the Quap the last time we saw it, and again, I just feel like his play style suits him better to be a hero that does farm up at least somewhat. You know, like he can make a playmaker like Ursa work, but he usually likes to be able to farm a certain amount. Here, Epileptic Kid has been spending so much time roaming around, and has often been doing nothing during that time.
Now, Limp had known that Prodigy have been here waiting. He circled it out on the map. They're just waiting for this opportunity to potentially turn it around, and this is Alliance's time to punish Prodigy for being there, and they quickly torch down the Witch Doctor. They're going to be looking for FN next. He gets it from the Sprout, and DM says, boys, we got to go! Pops the ultimate, and they are gone. Almost got that Death Prophet there at the end, but you know, this started as Prodigy trying to siege together into the mid lane to take a tower. Now they had to pull out, but because they pull out with the Underlord ult, they can TP back to the mid lane to turn the fight around. And, well, they are able to kind of catch up with Handskin and take him off the table, and then finally get back to the tier 1 and finish it off.
They got a hero kill, which means DM right-clicks very hard.
Uh-oh, S4 rolls in now with the Inkswell, tries to go for the back lines, now turns and settles for the Underlord instead, and that's your big net worth farmer for Prodigy being brought down. And Prodigy are successful in finishing off the tier 1, but, you know, that death ward explains it all.
Yeah, where was Epileptic Kid when the second defense of that mid tower came up, you know? Like, maybe his TP was on cooldown. He just had to blink out to lane. It looks like that was the case. It's just rough watching these guys get out team fought with a lineup that has a Death Prophet Quap in 14 minutes.
We'll check it again. They tried to lead in for a catch onto Limp, as they were patiently waiting in the dark for a minute or so. But when the time to strike comes, Alliance were ready for it. And here we see the turnaround. This is a cute play, though, from Prodigy. You know, the Underlord, they TP back to Fountain. They quickly get some TPs, and I saw it there. Yeah, Epileptic could TP to the top lane instead of joining everyone else at the mid lane.
Okay.
Not sure if that was a personal decision by him or decision by the team. Maybe he felt like because he didn't have the ultimate, he couldn't contribute as much, but I don't know, man. That is questionable for sure.
Yeah, if he was there, maybe they kill the Riki, and who knows what happens from that point. But Alliance has shown they're more than willing to 5-man. And if you're Virtus.Pro.Prodigy, I would think your lineup would be okay with that. You know, you've got an Underlord, Quap, Death Prophet. These heroes are supposed to be quite strong at 15.
Yeah, but they also don't have that usual Underlord type of build with the utility at the moment. They are going to get a nice surround onto Death Prophet here, and they just make quick work of her. A great gank and rotation comes out from Alliance, and that's the new top net worth going to be taken off. Save, also murdered down, and at this point Prodigy may just be hemorrhaging kills. Epileptic Kid is able to step in and gets off the ultimate, but no finish yet. Handskin looks like he'll be the first one to go down, as a Maldic and an ultimate will be bringing him apart, but S4 clenches the double kill. Limp sweeps through with a dominating streak, and they're about to full 5-man wipe Prodigy here. Alliance only lose Handskin, and now they're going to have a 3K net worth advantage and pressure onto the tier 1 in the bottom lane.
Having an Underlord is kind of like having a Centaur, where your lineup needs to stand on its own for the first 15 minutes of the game, while the Centaur Underlord farms through for his first team fight item and maybe even a second item before he can show up and just use his brawniness to bully the enemy team. But here, Alliance has been pushing Virtus.Pro.Prodigy so heavily. They've been forcing a lot of mistakes out of them, and as a result, we're getting a lot of engagements where they would just win team fights and take objectives. Virtus.Pro.Prodigy now, as the Underlord has finished up his Rod of Atos, it just looks like a sad affair, right? Yep. He throws it onto the Riki, and the Riki almost died. And then he got pushed out by the Sonic Wave. He was able to jump away, no problem. And that's just one hero. Even if you deal with the Riki, there's still an Ember Spirit and Dragonite that will win the team fight against you.
Certainly. And Alliance are only going to get that much stronger. They are now eyeballing their BKBs. Imagine once those are complete. Like, what the hell are Prodigy going to do at that point? Does Alliance go on the move on the back end of a smoke? They find Rubik and finish him off. In the meantime, whoa, Niku Baby gets his own kill, crossing paths with Witch Doctor in that nearby river, and suddenly both supports are already gone, and now Alliance are going to get to those next items that much faster.
Yeah, and I have to ask, like, what does this farm on the Underlord do for you anymore? What does Death Prophet and Quab, when is their next big power spike?
That's a great question there, Cap.
It's going to be BKBs. You know, with higher levels of silence mixed with a BKB, they might actually be able to abuse Limp, who's not going for a BKB himself, but rather a Desolator. So he's trying to max out his damage. I feel like that's unnecessary when you have the Riki, but they are very far ahead. So
oh, wait, you said Limp was going for Deso?
Yeah.
Oh, now he's BKB. Oh, no, I'm looking at S4. You're right, you're right. Well, they have S4 with BKB. They have Nico Baby going BKB. You know, they figured someone's got to bring some damage.
Yeah, I guess, like, those two going BKB, maybe it's just enough. I was just thinking to myself, like, I mean, if everyone goes BKB, what does Virtus.Pro do to stop you? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
75% of their damage just cut out entirely.
Yeah.
It's just like exorcism at that point.
And Prodigy's next items are BKBs, so it's not like those are going to bring any additional offense. It's just them trying to survive that much better, really. And obviously, these supports just don't stand a chance. They show themselves, and they just get put blasted here. Now, a jump in, though, from Death Prophet and from Queen of Pain. They're looking to get vengeance, and they are successful in bringing down Nico Baby. Can they get a lot out of round number 2? It looks like DM says we got to go. Can't even bail out his cores. He will be the only one to take this Uber ride out. It's a sad and lonely ride back to base, full of tears as the rest of his team are gone.
Well, it was better than the last team fight. This time they did kill the Riki with their combination of the Rod of Atos. But again, there are other cores that are threats here. And it also means the backline of Alliance, they're free to just play whatever kind of game they want. I'm watching this Grimstroke. He's getting stroke of fade after stroke of fade. He's getting free ink swells out time and time again. He can bide his time to get really good soul binds. You can't let supports go completely unpressured like this. They are impactful in team fights, especially this Grimstroke. Hanskin is just right-clicking people nonstop. Yeah, because that's what Furion does.
Certainly agree. The problem is on Prodigy's side, like who's going to answer the call? Who's going to be jumping those backlines and taking care of them? It's right now, it feels like all of their focus is, you know, if they catch out Nico Baby, let's get that Riki. Let's get one of these cores off and get that swing back. It's leaving these supports on Alliance's side to do anything they want, and now they're at an 8K net worth advantage and growing, even off that. You know, what was the best fight for Prodigy so far, and taking out Nico Baby, they still lost top tier 2, and Alliance just gets so much money each and every time. And now Limp moving in first for his team, leading out the charge. Has he been too far in too fast? Eats a silence and a lot of damage, and eventually has to remnant out. They could get a follow-up kill potentially on FNG, who came close to assist. It's a little bit of something for Prodigy, but they have to kind of remain close and have this buddy-buddy system.
Another thing that's a little dysfunctional about this build of the Underlord, it's a cool combination, but one of the problems is you are a lane pusher. Underlord always needs to be able to show himself in lanes, right? What that means is he can't be there like an Axe, Centaur, Mars, one of those heroes that is able to play off map, blink in, and get that kind of initiation or get the follow-up damage that they need to kill an important hero like that Ember Spirit, right? I'm looking at it, I'm going, they don't have any disables. And I'm like, wait a minute, well, they were supposed to have this big disabler in the Underlord. I see him trolleying through the river. Don't worry, guys, I'm coming. Well, he's not there in the team fight because he was pushing out mid previously. He was trying to put that Firestorm to use. Again, Underlord is a very stationary hero in that nature, in that he just wants to be able to push out lanes constantly.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a conflict of interest right now for DM's Underlord, and how he's itemizing in the playstyle that they want and what the hero just instinctively does in Dota.
He's going to get a Force Staff, which will help out his intelligence heroes quite a lot. This Death Prophet and Quap are very susceptible to the smoke screen of the Riki until they get their BKBs.
Whoever team gets their BKBs, they're going to look to make a move next. But I'm looking at Nico Baby, very close to his, about a couple hundred gold, and S4 already has his done. I imagine once that Nico Baby BKB is complete, we'll see Alliance commit in for a call to action.
Yeah, I mean, both teams pop their BKBs and just smash into each other like a 6-year-old kid ramming his Superman and Batman figurine together. You know, if like they just do that, then who's going to walk out superior? Well, Alliance, because they've actually the ones that have the physical damage. They're not that dependent on putting out magic damage. Meanwhile, Virtus.Prodigy, there's Sonic Wave and Exorcism. Those are their two things that go through BKB right now. The only hope, again, for Virtus.Prodigy is if they catch the Ember Spirit first, because he doesn't have the BKB. They kill him, they make it a 4 versus 5, then they've got a real shot. But if they don't catch the Ember Spirit, then his Desolator becomes more effective, because if he's free to just hit Sleight of Fist with all that physical damage against these BKB'd up intelligence heroes, they're going to fall over pretty quickly.
Alliance make moves over to the Roche pit. They plant a couple of wards and secure the perimeter, if you will. But Prodigy are quick to pop out the smoke and head that direction. Alliance seemed to be a bit privy to it. They didn't have any wards in the area, but if you're just looking at the map, you're noticing that Prodigy are just not present anywhere, so something is up. But it looks like they do manage to catch out Ein. If Alliance are successful in this fight, they could quickly segue into the Roche pit and make this a huge, huge opening in the game as they just crush down 3 like that. And now they'll be able to go in and get the Roche. This is going to get out of control, if not already out of control too fast.
Yeah, Ein's looking at it like, guys, I got 2-shot. Like, what do you want to do with this game? You want to keep playing? Because I'm certainly not playing Dota right now. I'm not having fun. Lim picks up an Illusion Rune, which could be really big because the Dispel that comes with it.
He's got 7 charges on a Spirit Vessel. Normally you see that, it might be like a player in your pub game who forgets how to use the item, but here it's like they're killing so much, he just doesn't have opportunities to get Vessel charges out.
And no one's taking any damage, so he can't even heal people, really.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha in the river. Nerd. Hit him with the rod, hit him with the combo. But it's a race for the bounty runes. As S4 races across, his Dragon Form will expire, but there's still a fresh Tier 1 bottom lane for Alliance to take, so him and Hanskin will tackle that one on. It's obvious Alliance are happy to push the agenda and welcome a head-on fight from Prodigy's side. Well, once BKBs were complete, they know that they got the matchup. So no reason to not advance the game forward.
Yeah, FNG wasted very little time. He could have gone for the other bounty rune that was on their side of the map, but he knows that he should just be with his team. They can make some plays wherever they want with this Riki.
Yeah, because here comes Limp, looking to join him, and Hanskin. The global presence here from Alliance is something else, but they will come up just a bit short, trying to race down Prodigy in that top lane. So we head back bottom where the push is on, and they've already ditched that push, but they did plant a fun little mid lane, lane ward rather in that bottom lane, just to read the Prodigy movement.
Just not a fan of their opening of their draft. The Death Prophet, Queen of Pain combination. These heroes have not shown themselves to be so strong that they can just snap pick and bolt up in the first phase.
It's something like Peter said, you know, they kind of fill a similar role. You know, I understand DK is also in that mix, but it feels better to have DK plus Quap or DK plus DP. To have Quap and DP together as both ranged spellcasters leaves you with something on your team that you just happen to be missing as they swing it out in the mid lane. Huge damage out. They will manage to get the takedown of S4.
They want to fight!
5 times kill streak. Here we go. Prodigy's back, boys. And they race down this mid lane.
Granted, it cost them having 5 heroes in one part of the map and blowing 3 different ultimates.
And it could still cost them DP as a jump comes out from Nico, but he gets stopped in his tracks. That root, that silence, and that will be the finish of the Aegis. And Prodigy are happy with that. They try to turn and run, but the chains does manage to catch onto the Underlord, and they will finish off DM. All right, so, I mean, yay, S4 for DM. That's still a win for Prodigy.
No.
We have no more spells. And Alliance obviously looking to get redemption here. They clean out the better numbers exchange and get back to the task at hand.
All right, BKB number 1 and 2 is done for VP.Prodigy.
All right. Now we just got to wait 70 seconds for that exorcism, and we'll be ready. Oh, jump already on the Witch Doctor, and he's gone. Yeah, supports obviously don't really stand a chance at this point, certainly on the Prodigy side. You got jumping in Nico Baby Ricky with the Diffusal Blade. You got Limp with that Deso. They will catch you and kill you quick.
Also, I'm not in love with their 4-position 3 combo. Rubik plus Underlord as a lane presence is very strong. We saw that happen. But at the same time, they actually have no initiator. Normally when you see Underlord, because he's more of a solo hero, you have more of a 4 position that rotates and starts fights.
Oh, S4 pops the BKB. Fears that Prodigy might make a quick advance onto him while the rest of the Alliance team are currently pushing out bottom. Hein. Have the dust!
The rich gets richer, or rather the poor gets poorer. The losing team against an Invis hero has to use sentries and dust to not find kills.
Yeah. Stay away! Just throws the salts out as if they're vampires.
Sands.
Yeah. Here, stay away, cruel villains, as Alliance will chase in to go for the closure if possible. Fight back is there, though, from Prodigy, but man, FN just gets overwhelmed. Nico Baby could be going down, though. Tries to hide out, Cloak and Dagger, looking to sneak out from behind, but Epileptic Kid moving in with that Queen of Pain. BKB catches him out, but look at Hanskin teeping up to the high ground right at his own doorstep to welcome him. And S4 chases it on and gets the finish. It is a full team wipe on Prodigy's side. They lose Nico Baby for Alliance, but the rest of their team goes into the bottom lane and takes it to the tier 3. A buyback forced out from Underlord, but that is the only man who can afford the buyback here.
Yeah, he's the only one who has farm because, you know, he's pushing out lanes with Firestorm and stuff, but everybody else.
He's a glutton, damn it.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the first Rax down, the first bit of significant damage from Prodigy, and the hill to climb gets that much steeper.
Ooh, quickening charm for an Ember Spirit. That's pretty nice.
And what's he going for next?
Does his BKB? Yeah, his BKB is coming in now.
Oh,
so that timing of like, okay, he went a greedier build, didn't get punished for it, didn't die at all.
He's not even the one really being like targeted. It feels like it's Nico Baby who gets a lot of the hate.
For sure.
Limp may have been able to get away with even more offensive damage if he wanted to, but you know he's got the BKB.
He also has level 20 plus 65 slide of fist hero damage.
Oh my goodness.
With that Desolator.
Ouch.
He's gonna hurt.
Yeah, the problem with Prodigy's draft is if it doesn't go well in the early game and then keep holding that momentum, it's just a lineup that doesn't seem to have a very good plan B, if a plan B.
All I can do is kind of laugh at that Heaven's Halberd from S4. Yeah, like, it's a good item on DK. Status resistance plus self-regen.
Sure.
It's just I'm not sure who the disarm's going to be used on.
Who are you using on?
Like, who's right-clicking on this team? The best one is probably DM.
Yeah, I was going to say, DM is the one hitting with the right-click real hard.
Don't think DM's really threatening anybody on Alliance since, Riki has 17 armor, 18 on the Ember Spirits. You've got 21 on S4. They can deal with a couple of Underlord right-clicks, no problem.
Certainly nobody's going to get an MKB, though, or any way to deal with the evasion. I guess is the benefit of S4. He's like, well, there's no one right-clicking on your team, and even if there was, you're not going to be hitting me too much. He's just now on another level as far as EHP goes here. From the high ground, another dust popped out from the Rubik. They throw everything they can from the high ground of their own base.
Epileptic Kid almost died. Gets caught by any sort of... that's the thing. The BKB, you're still susceptible to blink instant stuns, and that's what DK provides. You get stunned up for 3.25 seconds. That's more than enough time to Nico Baby to follow up, especially as he's about to get his level 20. So either the backstab multiplier, so he can then one-shot the Witch Doctor if he wants, or the Blink Strike cast range, which he can follow these blinking, very mobile cores that he has. So you can follow them in.
Curious what he goes for. No, you want to go for the multiplier. We're already just inside their base.
I like the cast range personally.
The cast range?
Yeah, it's so strong, man. It's like the full screen. If you see them, you can blink on them. It's pretty crazy.
I would agree. It just feels like we're going to be already at that point in the game where Prodigy are obviously stuck inside their base. So you're just blink striking to get into their base from a further distance, essentially.
For whatever reason, when you hover over blink strike, it's not showing you the real cast range. Don't know why. 1375 cast range.
That's huge. It's like the screen.
That is farther than the Quap can blink.
Well, Alliance want to kind of secure this one even further as they will farm out on the side lanes to keep the pressure forward. Roshan still has about 2.5 minutes here in opening to get the jump onto Rubik. Nico wants to commit the BKB to try to go for the finish, but Save still alive and well. And look at this, Prodigy thinking about jumping outside the base.
Another illusion rune popped there, so he can dispel off of himself and didn't have to worry about using the BKB. So he holds on to his 10-second charge for the Ember Spirit anyway.
All right, here we go, Prodigy.
Let's go.
We don't want to be that team that just sits inside base and waits for a high ground defense we may end up losing. We want to take it to Alliance and catch them off guard. Oh, S4 is not going to be an easy target, but they're going to give it a shot. Maldict, but the BKB's there. FN tries to chase, but now he's like, I'm kind of chasing alone. Do I keep going? I do want to keep going because he's getting a bit low, and they hit him with the ulti. They're all in on trying to get this jump for S4. They finally finish him off, but when they look back, the supports and their Underlord are already dead, and they're going to be the last two survivors, and now they get converged on from the rest of the Alliance team who understand, oh, you killed S4? Well, we will kill you. And they finish them all off at that point. And then they call the GG. That's how you do it. You're like, we don't. Before we go, we're going to smoke out. We're going to get somebody. They get S4, and then they kindly tap.
I think that has been the essence of almost every single team fight for Virtus.Prodigy, which was they all end on one hero, and maybe they killed him, maybe they didn't, but in exchange, they